We have, I think Kathy Richardson is in the house.
I am here.
Curious to see what you'll sing about death. Hey, you know what I did think though, Kathy?
What?
Remember that song that we wrote about death?
About facing your own death.
About the story isn't over yet.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime during this month you can sing that one.
Okay.
That would be a good one.
I
Okay.
need to refresh on that. But yes, I love that song. The song I was going to play right now, that I am going to play right now, is a song that when my father was dying, we were all gathered around his bed and we knew he was leaving. And I had this Beatles playlist going. And some weird song came on, like Fool on the Hill or something like that. And I changed it to this song. And as my dad was slowly on the boat sailing away, his breaths getting shorter and shorter in between, we looked at the time and saw it was really close to 4:44, which is, to me, it's the angel number, a very significant number. And so I don't know who had the phone. It was either me or Rachel with the clock on it. And as the song was fading out, the song ended. The clock turned 4:44, last breath. And that was it. And I just started applauding. I was like, God, I want to go out like that. It was such immaculate perfection. So here we go. You hear this?
Yes.
Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither as they pass, they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me. Jai Guru Deva Om. Nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Thoughts meander like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Jai Guru Deva Om. Nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Sounds of laughter, shades of life are ringing through my open ears, inciting and inviting me. Limitless, undying love which shines around me like a million suns and calls me on and on across the universe. Jai Guru Deva Om. Nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Gosh, thank you so much. Your dad is still alive and well, hanging over your shoulder at all times. So I think we should grab the tissues because we're going to be talking about death.
Wow.
Okay, and that's good, you know, clearing out some of the old, you know, energies and toxicities and honoring the love that we've experienced is a beautiful thing. So welcome to Virtual Speakeasy. Your presence here is a gift. The thing I like about this is that the whole series isn't just about living and dying well, but leaving a lovely mark. Like we're all responsible for the legacy that we leave. We have an amazing facilitator here with us today. I'm just going to read a little bit of her bio. Kate Miller, who I adore, is a holistic coach. She offers innovative methods to develop mindfulness and resilience in everyday life. And who couldn't use a little of that? Her experience as a licensed spiritual practitioner, addiction counselor, and yoga and meditation teacher are all woven together to create a safe space for inward reflection and self-acceptance and personal growth. She's passionate about the possibility of positive change, having worked with diverse populations in one-on-one groups and retreat settings over the past 30 years. Clients are assisted in shifting of consciousness to achieve a sense of balance and wholeness in their life. So that's what the paper says. What I know about Kate is that she is a sincere treasure. Like she and I shared an office, and I think I've shared that before, for a couple of years at Bodhi, and she is a consciousness that is so helpful. I was like a kite and she was an anchor. We worked well together. So please welcome our dear friend, Kate Miller.
Microphone on. Okay, there I am. Thank you for that lovely introduction, and thank you, Will, for that story. And I'm remembering fondly our being in class together at Bodhi when you guys first moved there. So one of the things I discovered was a journal entry from Peter that was written in 1983 while he was stuck in some town. His car had broken down. And so I'm going to lead this as a meditation. Okay. I feel somewhat at a loss, for I have strong reservations about the path of devotees who live their lives in the aura of their masters. I've always been more attracted to Siddhartha's way in the Hess novel. Siddhartha, who lived a full life of pleasure and pain, of attachment to desire and renouncement of desire, who met Gautama, the Buddha, and chose not to follow, but truly seek within, to seek and finally find on the river which is a symbol for life in this world. The river starts in the mountains. It begins at the highest point of perfection, crystal clear and pure. Yet to fulfill its watershed destiny, it must lower itself. In fact, it has no choice but to be removed from its inception in the sparkling spring, to be removed from its purity in the crystalline snows, to become the muddy, silty servant of the broad plains, joining as it flows with every tributary, finally to merge in selfless entirety with the mother of all waters, the encompassing womb of the world, the ocean. Yet, in all its muddiness and sullen certitude, the river remains, for the water remains, and there is no pollution that can alter its essence, as it is distilled by the sun's bright rays and carried as if by angelic messenger by the wind's airy breath back across the sea, in clouds casting shadows, back across the somber waves of grain, back beyond broad plains to the peaks, to the majestic peaks, to the medicine mountains where the grandmothers and the grandfathers give thanks, and they give thanks, and they sing an eternal song of praise and joyous sight for the returning of the eternal voyager. The river always moves, the river always remains. It was a treasure to find that, and I'm really pleased to share it with you. So, what is death? Is it the grim reaper that we bargain with for more time? Or is it an angelic guide from the next realm? Is it complete annihilation? Or is it the other side of the coin of birth? Death is a vast mystery. There are two things that we can say about it. It's absolutely certain that we will die, and it's uncertain of when and how we will die. The uncertainty about the hour of our death is often seized as an excuse to postpone death directly. Being similar to children who cover their eyes and play hide and seek, and everyone thinks they think that no one can see them. We play that, don't we? How do we approach it? We will all fail at living together, living forever. How we die, how we care for those who are dying, and how we carry loss informs how we live as a society. Perhaps the gift of this pandemic has given us a way to rethink how we live and how we will be as a society. Life is a series of losses. From the moment of our birth, we lose the union with that womb that has held us. Until the day we die, we traverse the challenges of loss, which informs our life. Learning to pay attention to the small little losses each day. I lost my keys. I lost that phone number. I lost the recipe. I guess I need to figure it out. Each day we become more in tune to respond to the bigger losses of life. How will I care for the dying? That's a question for all of us. Will I allow them agency to do what they're capable of? To give them the time they need to do it for themselves? We do it for children when they're 2 years old and they're learning a new skill. We give them as much time as they need to figure it out for themselves. Though when someone has been debilitated and they lose their abilities to do certain things, do we give them the time to figure it out for themselves, or for them to figure out what they still are capable of? This is one of the things that was a big learning for me while caring for Peter. It's like, well, I thought that he was completely bedridden, but no, he did return some capabilities. And he was kind of obstinate when I would try to help him with certain stuff. And it's like, no, he didn't want me to help put his leg back on the bed. He wanted to do it himself. Well, what else did I have to do? I could sit there and wait. the amount of time it was for him to put his leg back on the bed? And would I put my hand there to spot him? So can I be there for you as you are in charge? You are the driver of this journey, and I'm here to spot. Can we do that? It's so important. Will I remember that they're the driver and I'm the spotter? Will I let them tell me what they need to tell me? And will I allow them to have their way out instead of trying to talk them into doing it a different way? And how many families do that? Someone has decided they don't want to go through a particular treatment or a different route, but their family tells them, you've got to fight this thing. Will I allow them their way to enter this journey and exit this journey? Will I say goodbye directly instead of in a eulogy? What I learned was being the champion for someone making their transition is the most rewarding role we can do, that we can fulfill in our lifetime. How will I die? Will I fight it? Will I bargain for more time and learn that what I received was not what I thought I was bargaining for? Will I remember that each moment that I am dying, as is everyone and everything else, and therefore treat all beings all the time with compassion? If we can behold the painful beauty of death, we may then come to understand that without death, there is no life. Who dies? Perhaps the deepest reason why we're afraid of death is because we don't really know who we are. So when we're asked the question, who dies? And we answer, well, it's I. Who is this I that I call myself? We believe in a personal, unique, separate identity, which upon examination depends entirely upon a collection of things to prop it up. Our name, our biography, our partners, our children, our family, our home, our job. Which job? Which me? Which face? This face definitely has changed in the past 3 years. It's not the same face I recognized in the mirror before. All of this is transient. There is no person there. We are an ever-changing process. Doesn't everything we've done in the past seem like a dream now? The views and opinions that we held with single-minded passion, well, we've kind of left them behind. What we call our basic character is only a mind stream. We feel good because things are going well, and tomorrow we may feel the opposite. We are impermanent. The influences are impermanent. There is nothing solid that we can point to. Impermanence. The whole universe is nothing but change, activity, and process. In totality, a flux that is the ground of all things. Life is a dance of transient forms, the change of season, the weather, the light of day, how the light has changed on the windows just from the time we've started, and how it is displaying on the walls. What's memory? It's our familiarity with things that keeps us from seeing things as themselves. Our perception is based on memory. Take away memory, our collection of concepts and symbols that they are coded to represent. That's what represents our reality. So if you take that away and we walk down a path there's just walking. When you look, there's just seeing. You see with fresh eyes. Your familiarity is gone. All then is new life. When awareness is focused on the present, we experience the suchness of things. We begin to see how little life is actually experienced. Maureen had come to visit me a little bit after Peter had passed away. And there was we had a wonderful connection and conversation. And there was a photograph that had come in the mail from a wedding that we had attended the year prior. And the couple had sent it to us. And it was a picture that was taken of Peter and I. And Maureen saw the picture and was like, Kate, he's still courting you. And I have to share something that took place this morning when I walked into this room. I saw something lying on the floor. And this is what I saw, just a blank little piece of paper. And I thought, well, I'll pick that up and see what is that? And this is what it is. It says, oops, love you so much. It's a letterpress card. Somehow it fell out of a basket that was on the shelves, but I don't know how it could have fallen out of the basket. I think it was a message that I needed to hear today because I think Peter was here with me to talk with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate. And gosh, I can't wait to hear the conversation. So much got stirred up for me. So Kathy Richardson's going to sing us a song, and we'll get into that.
This is another instant request. Maureen wrote these lyrics, and this is our first song collaboration, first of many to come. But this we wrote for Wellness House, which is a support place for people who have terminal cancer or all terminal. Why don't you tell them what it's about, Maureen? You wrote
it. We were hired to do their mission moment, and they wanted us that year to focus on the children. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have to deal with children with cancer. Like, how are we going to raise this? Like, it's really a tough and tender topic. And so I interviewed some of the family members, and one of them had this little boy who passed on. But they kept him so alive with all of their rituals and all of the ways that they continued to see him. And the song really wrote itself after having these conversations. And the idea of it was that our story isn't over yet, just like Kate and Peter's story isn't over yet, and Kathy and her dad's story isn't over yet. Like, nothing dies. We can continue to have those conversations. So that's what the song is. Our story isn't over yet.
Hurling wishes at the stars, hoping you can hear. In the heavens vast and wide, I have no faith to spare. And it's hard to breathe as I hold back the ocean of my doubt. My hope is but a flicker that my fear may soon blow out. And the world goes on spinning, buses still run, and everyone's moving along. And I feel like I'm folding from all that I'm holding, but it's not the end of our song. And church bells are ringing, dishes need doing, friends keep on sending regrets. And it's all so confusing, this landslide losing, but our story isn't over yet. No, No, our story isn't over yet. So I'm willing to be our legacy, if it's left for me to right all the wrongs. And every moment that's passed was never meant to last, but to be written in the lyrics of God's never-ending song. They say time is healing, still I got a feeling that healing's not something to get. So I'll take the slow pace and give up the old race. Our story isn't over yet. And I'll whisper goodbyes, knowing love never dies. And I promise to never forget. Till the answers ring clear, I'll proceed without fear, 'cause our story isn't over yet. You see, I'm as close to hell as I ever wanna get, but our story isn't over yet. No, our story isn't over yet. Our story isn't over yet.
Woo-hoo! Wow, Kathy, that's incredible. You are...
Well, Maureen, that's incredible.
Wonder twin powers unite. Yeah, I'm so grateful that we crossed paths and we got to collaborate on that in VoiceBox and all the ways we've gotten to collaborate, because keeping the stories and songs alive for people. Thank you so much for being able to whip that out in last minute and doing the request. That's awesome. You know, we're a community that lives on because of your giving, sharing your tithes and talents and treasures. So we're going to put the link up for you to go ahead and support our conversations and help us to continue to do good work in the world. We tithe to the Foundation of Inner Peace, as well as other communities to support, you know, good people doing good things. So we're going to go ahead and put that link up. I think it's already up, actually. And Mari's going to share a few invitations with us for this week, and then please stick around for the conversation so you can share what's up for you, because expressing your truth is so healing, and listening to other people is really healing too. Stories, they're good for your heart. So I'll pass it to you, Mari.
Yes, good morning. We do have a couple of events happening this week. Every morning, if you're new to Speakeasy, every morning we have yoga from 7:30 to 8 o'clock Central Time. We have 12 steps meetings on Wednesdays, right in the middle of the week. We also have a Course in Miracles text where we study and go through the text together. We have great conversations. Today we have Culture Club. So we have many events coming up as well. And more than anything, if you're interested in Maiden Voyage, it's still, you can still have a conversation with Maureen or Beth Gordon about it and get more information about starting your year following Maiden Voyage. Really go deep into your spiritual life. So all these events are in our website. I invite you to go to speakeasyspiritualcommunity.com. If you go to the calendar on the top bar, all the events are there. Most of them do require a registration, but they're free. So just click the event that you like, and all the information about their description and a way to register are there. And so we welcome you to go and explore it and see what's coming up. And I pass it back to you.
Thanks, Mari. And thanks, Mari. And now I put the link up for the YouTube video that we made on that song. You can see the families whose stories we highlighted, which was just a really beautiful. And then if you know anybody who's suffering from cancer or a family member who's struggling with cancer, send them over there, because again, it's a great resource and it's all free. They have everything from like yoga to like, I don't know, I was going to say horseback riding, but I don't know that that's true. Sounds good. Okay, so this is the part of the conversation where you get to share. Tell us what you think about death and dying or living well. Love to hear from you. So just raise your hand or click your little hand up button, and we'll highlight your video. Don't see anybody with their hands up. Well, this is what came up for me in hearing this story. I studied from A Course in Miracles, so I really have for a long time, and actually wrote a kid's book about death. That's a really weird combination: children's book and death. So it hasn't been a national bestseller yet. But what came up when Kate was sharing was two things that rack my brain a lot, which is confusion and confusion around death. Like I remember when I was little and my mom was dying, and I was so confused by it. I think that's why I wrote the children's book, because death was such a huge concept, and I felt like I was trying to wrap an elephant in a gum wrapper. You know, I was like, how do you understand death? That's why we're taking the whole month. And I remember I came into the room one day when my mom was in the hospital bed and she was choking, and I had 5 older sisters, and like her sisters were there who were nurses, and everybody knew what to do. Like they all knew what to do. They knew the bottles to grab. They knew the words to say. They knew, they just knew everything. And I didn't know. And I walked into the room and I grabbed my mother's toe. It was really an embarrassing moment, but I was like, I don't know, 10. And I just started screaming. It was so unhelpful. My sisters were like, Maureen, stop it. And I just remembered, like, that was an internal experience that as a kid I didn't have a filter for, that I was just like, ah! That's how a lot of people actually feel around death. Like that's how we actually feel. It's like, ah! Except we know that it's inappropriate to grab someone's toe and scream at this point. So we just like bottle it in and we don't deal with it. And what I also notice about death is it brings us to such compassion. Like so much kindness comes around, the bedside of somebody who's dying, for ourselves and for others. I remember when my mom was dying, my sisters and I went out and got white dresses for her funeral. That's what she wanted. And my sister came home one day from shopping for this white dress, and she said, Maureen, you can't believe it. Like you could go outside and go to a store and buy a dress and nobody will know that it was the day your mom died. And I was like, my gosh, that's so sad. And I thought, well, we better be careful. Like Kate was saying, like we better be careful, because we don't know what people are carrying. Like you still have to go sweep the front porch when somebody's dying. So that's what came up for me.